We are in Colorado, but we wanted to bring a little Texas to the stage. Texas Bombers and Scott Smith as the carousel of important people continues. We've got a lot of star power up here tonight so far.
You messed it up bringing me up here, I tell you.
Yeah, we apologize for the downgrade.
Yeah.
Scott Smith and Texas Bombers have been a long-time part of this Colorado extravaganza and a key contributor to the general growth of club fast pitch across the country. So first of all, thank you for the time and thanks for what you're doing.
Yeah, excited to be here.
We, of course, we want to hear more about the Bombers. We like to kind of keep up on what's happening in the organization. I know you have some other things we want to talk about, but first, let's zoom in on the Bombers. What's going on with your program?
Yeah, no, we're excited about this season. We've grown a little bit. I think we're in 10 states now with 80 teams in our program, and we've added a couple new player development people that are traveling around the country doing exactly that, developing players. And so this is always the one of the highlights of our summers, coming out here to Colorado and playing against some of the best teams in the country. So it's been a good season so far. We won this tournament last year, so a little bit of a target, and we're not playing our best. So that's a bad combination. So hopefully we can pick it up a little bit and play a little better. Yeah,
with last year's championship, flashback through that a little bit. I mean, what were the moments that stick out, or when was the moment you felt like, was it the last out when you felt like we might get this thing?
Yeah.
Or how did it go down for you?
Yeah, it was when the umpire said ball game in the last.
You're shaking hands, going,
yeah,
us.
And we literally had to make, I think, a diving play in the outfield to end the ball game, and but we got on a little bit of run like a lot of good teams do sometimes, and we were fortunate. We didn't lose a game, and we played our best softball. I think it's kind of a flip side of that right now. We're probably not playing our best softball. And so it'll be, I talked to them just now, we won, and we've got to come back tomorrow. We've got to play a little better, and we've got to steadily get to where we can get to a place maybe to defend this thing. But it was a good year last year. We were very young, and we're even maybe younger this year, so it's scary.
So being from Texas, obviously a rich environment for the college game, along with the club level. I know you can't single out any school, or you don't pick favorites, obviously, but when you work with your players, and if they're thinking big, and they want to go, get that big signing, what are the schools that hit the top of the charts for your kids?
Well, I think all the schools in Texas, the bigger D1s that tend to kind of maybe come after some of the players on our team, they're all very good in their own right. And I think that this is going to sound politically correct, but in a lot of ways, it's sincere when I say it, is that the right fit for our player depends on the situation. And we've had players that are going to A&M, and that's the perfect environment for them. Same with Texas and Baylor and so forth. And we've got players at schools that are around the country. We've got a bunch that are going to play at LSU that are going out of the state of Texas. Yeah. So I have, I think, 3 on my roster now that are going to play at LSU and 2 on our 1600 team. So I think it's a lot of it times comes to style of play, and the style we play fits in certain places depending on the players. So they're all good, and we love them that they all come out and kind of watch us play. So it's good.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. Obviously for the best school is not the best. It's the best school for this player, and far from the best school for this player. Yeah. And there are a lot of smaller opportunities. We were talking yesterday across the metro area at the other side on the Sparkler side of this thing, with some NAIA coaches and D2 level coaches. Yeah. And there's some fantastic opportunities. I think a lot of players, they feel like at 12, 14, 15 years old, they're not on the radar of one of those big programs. What am I doing it for? There's a lot to do it for still. Yeah, there's so much to it. And we ran some numbers, and if you really think about every recruiting class averages to 4 to 5 schools, and if they just target those 3 or 4 or 5 schools that are the top schools in the state of Texas, there's only 20 kids in the entire state they're going to go play at that level. That makes it very tough to do. So we try to get them to open up their opportunities, open up their eyes to other opportunities that are maybe they hadn't thought about. And hopefully, and we've seemed to figure out that more often than not it happens, the right fit, you'll end up where you kind of belong. And more often than not, that's the best place for you. Well, it seems like you and all these top programs around the country, iron sharpens iron, and not just this stop. I mean, you put this on your calendar every year, but you put a lot of stops on your calendar every year that put you in that fire. Yeah. What is it about the Colorado trip? It's separate from that competition. Yeah. What do you enjoy about this trip?
Other than the iron sharpens iron?
I mean, that's at the top of the deal. Yeah, I took that one. So what else? What else keeps you coming?
Obviously the weather, but more than anything else, I think it's the organization that Dave and Allison and Elliot and all those guys, Krista and all of them. I could keep naming them all. They do such a good job of organizing this event. So you don't have to worry. You get to come out and just focus on the softball side of it. But they layer so many different things into this week that parents and players and family and friends who might be out here, they're going to get to enjoy some stuff that are on the edge of the game. And like the Veterans game tonight and some other stuff, the For the Heroes ceremony we did. But they're just such good people. And they put on the best events in I'll say the world. I play in the United States, but I can't imagine anywhere else it being better, so I'll use the world. It sounds bigger.
Scott Smith with Texas Bombers. You mentioned the Veterans game and the For the Heroes. Tell us a little bit more about some of those military initiatives.
Yeah, I just retired from the Army last November for 26 years, and about 3 or 4 years ago, I felt like our players and more our players, but more young people in general, were disconnected from the fact that we're still at war. And a lot of them, we've been at war as long as a lot of them have been alive, and they didn't know about it. They didn't know about the selfless service that young people make every day to get off their couch and go decide to serve their country. And we're out here in beautiful Colorado playing, and I felt like we better do something to at least let them know. And so we started a program called For the Heroes, and we have a jersey awareness program where we put the name of a fallen soldier on the back of a jersey, fallen first responder, police officer, firefighter, and we have them research that person and get to know who they were, and they wear that jersey all year long because they get asked, what's that on the back of your jersey? Who is that? Who is that to you? And they let people know who that person is. And so we wear that jersey, and then at the end of the year we give it to the family in a ceremony and say, we wore this in honor of your loved one, and we want you to know they are not forgotten. And so that's kind of been a neat learning opportunity for our players. I think it does more for us probably than it does the family. I think it does a lot, but the families could never know how much it means to our players to be able to do that stuff. So that's that. And then Allison, those guys decided to have a veterans game last year and said, would you guys want to do it? We said absolutely. And so as much as I loved winning the championship here at Triple Crown Sparkler and Fireworks last year, that one was kind of at the top of the food chain for me. It was really a fun event. Yeah. I've
seen a couple of those jersey ceremonies. It's powerful stuff.
It's
and
good.
It's to stop for a minute, that perspective of just, we are playing a game in the end.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of big things going on here. And not only the fact that you stop to acknowledge that the big things go on, but the fact that you stop to celebrate somebody else who, might sometimes just I don't know if they feel forgotten, but I mean, they don't feel maybe always like people have that big picture perspective of what's going on. I think that poignant moment of, we're thinking about you. Yeah. We'll all go back to our lives now, but you're in our heads.
It goes a long way when they hear that you're thinking about them and what their family lost. We had a player. I'll tell you just a quick story. We had a player of ours that wore a jersey of a young man, and the family. The young man had been killed in action probably 6-7 years ago. So you feel like it maybe gets better over time. But when we gave the jersey to her, she was going to go play. The player was going to go play at Texas A&M University. She was a freshman there just this last year. They had just moved to College Station, and so they, in a roundabout way, got something, and they went and watched almost every one of her games. So they have a special relationship and connection just because of that opportunity, and I think that says a lot, and it was really special for them. So it's been a really fun thing for us.
Yeah, that's a great program. Scott Smith, Texas Bombers, thank you for your involvement in the Triple Crown events.
Yes.
And 26 years, and then retired out of the Army, huh?
Yeah, they had to get me out quick. I was breaking down too fast, but it was good stuff.
Thank you for those years of service.
Thanks,
and,
man.
Good luck with the rest of this week.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Takes the run. Gonna go deep. Has a man. Oh, man. Did he catch that ball? Yes, he did.
What a catch. Going up and fake.
I see now an opportunity. Tries to scoop it up with a bicycle kick in its hand. Hi, Mom and Dad. I know they're watching. So.
Oh, he hops over a tackle.
squared, and what a great diving stop.
There's Binky on the left flank. There's the pass. There's the header. Shot to goal! Second down. The freshman runs to the left side. Cut back. She still has the flag. Moves, and that will be a touchdown.
One far side of the field. Quick pass. Halfback throw wide open, and he's got him for a touchdown.
Sheet is on his way for his second try for Ohio State.
Gives this one a ride to left field. Left fielder back, checking where the fence is, and this one is gone. Had to leave immediately after. And what a play, as it was a reverse wide receiver pass wide open, and that is how you start a game.
Up in the air. It is caught though. That's Ishmael Cisse spinning free for tackles, and he's off to the foot race. What a play there by Ishmael Cisse.
Thad Anderson on the live stage at Triple Crown Fireworks in Aurora. It's the Aurora Sports Complex, 12 beautiful ball fields, fantastic layout for players to show up and play high-quality fast-pitch softball, and therefore coaches want to be around to see all this, and not just here at this park, really all across Colorado during this time frame in the summer. So therefore, we need to get Lynn Klingelsmith on board, college coach coordinator for Triple Crown Sports, who helps get those college coaches connected to the players they're looking for, find the fields, all those things. So let's start from the start, Lynn. Long before this thing ever happens where we're throwing pitches, you're doing a whole lot of work in the so-called off-season to make it go. What does that look like? What's the process to get a coach involved?
Well, what we do is we send out emails to all our coaches. We do have a list of all the coaches at all the different levels of colleges, and we send out emails to them talking about the event, what we have to offer them, and then we hire some of our JUCO and NAIA coaches come out, and they actually coach those all-star games that you've been watching on Monday, Tuesday. We had our All-American games here last night, or actually over in Christopher last night. They coached those. And right now over at our C-Pod, they are coaching our all academic games, where we've got players that had to apply to play in those games, and we've got all the Ivy Leagues, all the D3s over there watching them, and we have our JUCOs and NAIs coaching them. But we do segment the event such that we can tell coaches where they want to go to see the players that fit their program. So we send out emails, and then we call a lot of the coaches, talk to them on the phone, explain what we're doing, what we have to offer them, why we think it'd be a great idea for them to join us.
So some of those activities have multiple types of college coach involvement. You got some of them coaching on the field, interacting directly with the players in the dugouts, coaching bases for them. And then you've got college coaches outside the fence on clipboards and on their devices evaluating those players for potential recruitment. So college coaches actually get a couple of different opportunities for the type of role they play.
They do. And depending on the type of school that they have, we have the coaches that are coaching, and then they may go off to a different field to watch players that they want to recruit. A lot of times what we found is they coach a player in the game, and then they follow that player throughout the tournament. They go on our website. Coaches have a special way to log in, and they can follow a player through our website to see where their team is going to be. Coaches can also go onto the website and search for players based on certain criteria. If they're looking for a 2018 catcher from the Midwest, they can go in and put that information in, and it'll pop up the kids and then show you what team they're on and what fields they'll be on what day.
And that data, how does that initially comes in through the team submitting a roster, and then and then that database is created, and then that information can be filtered down for what you're looking for.
Exactly. The teams all have to fill out a roster when they sign up for the event, and then when the tournament director places that team into a pool, into a time slot, then that team automatically flows through the bracket, and the roster flows right along with them. So it will actually tell them, if once they get to bracket play, if this team wins, they're playing at 6 o'clock on field 3. If it's a double elim bracket and they lose, they're playing at 8 o'clock on field 4. And so they can just keep following that player as much as they want.
So a lot of people, I got to fill out a roster, and hassle. But every roster has at least one kid, if not a lot of kids, who would be interested in being recruited. So if no other reason, team organizer, that it's worth your time to get onto that roster, this is how this stuff all happens. Exactly. This is how you get seen.
And the coach is responsible for getting the player on the roster. Parents and the players are responsible for getting that roster filled out with their profile. So it's really important to get on there and say what position you play, what's your GPA, if you're old enough, what's your ACT, what your interests are, so the coaches can look for you and find players that they think would fit their program. Yeah.
From what you've done, and I know Lindsey King was one of the sort of original hard-working people who helped build a lot of this up, and you've stepped in and you're kind of taking it another level here, and so there's been a lot of good work over a lot of years that's led to a phenomenal base of college coaches who make this a stop every year, along with a number of Triple Crown events. You've been dealing with these coaches and watching the participants, the players, on the other side of it. Have you picked up, I'm curious what advice you might have for the family or the player as they start to try, maybe that's that 12 and 14-year-old age level, and they haven't interacted a whole lot with the college programs. What advice do you have for those people as far as how to make connections and how to get involved?
Well, one of the things I would really suggest, especially for a younger player, is at this event on Sunday, we run College Camp Sunday. And what that is colleges come out and run a camp right on these fields at Aurora Sports Park on Sunday morning and afternoon. Some of them run a camp by themselves, others join together. And even if you're not sure of a school you're interested in or where you want to be, to get out on a field with a college coach and experience a workout with them that's not your dad or your coach, and you're with other players that aren't your teammates, it's an amazing experience. And what we found is players will say, oh, there's 3 colleges in this camp. I want to go to College A. A lot of times what we find is they're like, I'd never heard of College B, and wow, that was incredible. I really want to look into that and think about going there. We've got a big mix of schools. We had Syracuse and Ole Miss run a camp together with Indiana and Oklahoma State. That was huge. There were a lot of players. There were a lot of coaches, so it was good. But then on the other hand, we had 2 NAIAs do one together. There were only 25 kids. You've got 25 kids who actually got really one-on-one coaching going on that day. So that was an incredible experience for them as well. Something to consider is the other thing, if you're 12 or 14, each year in the opening ceremonies, we have a college coach panel. And we bring in a D1, a D2, a D3, NAI, and JUCO, and they explain the whole recruitment process to the parents and the kids. And just things to think about. What area of the country do you think you'd want to go to school? Do you want to go to a big school? Do you want to go to a small school? Are you really smart and need to be in the all academic and go to some place where you're really going to be challenged academically? Do you think that, if you eat lunch with mom every day, maybe going from the East Coast to the West Coast isn't for you? If you can't wait to get out of the house, go 3,000 miles away. Do you ski every weekend in the winter? Maybe Florida isn't the right thing. And then you need to think about what academically you're interested in. If you are destined to be a marine biologist, I wouldn't go to Iowa State. There's just different things you need to think about and just explore a lot of options. Talk to a lot of different schools about their program. And one thing that's really good about the All-Star Games is you're in the dugout with the coach. Ask them what it's like to be a player at their school.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. I think a lot of players either think the coaches are too busy or they maybe haven't made that connection that, it's just a person just like other people I know. But just to throw out a question or ask them something about the walk in the college coach's shoes, it can really open some doors to some interesting information. And sometimes maybe players need a little push to feel comfortable getting to that level of conversation.
And that's why we really like the camps and the All-Star Games is you're allowed to talk to them then. You can talk to them and just ask, what is it like to be at your school? So
when you said the NAIA schools that did their combined little clinic and camp thing they ran, and you said only 25 kids, which I know compared to some other ones that are here, but 25 is a heck of a number for a couple of NAIA schools to get that personal, that up close with some talented players. Those things are just happening all week long here. I mean, it's just kind of this repetitive process that really opens a lot of doors.
Yeah, no, it's great when you see the coaches and the players interacting. The other thing to tell players is go talk to the coach by yourself. Mom and dad don't need to be part of that. And I know it's scary, and that's why it's great to start when you're young. They know you're nervous about it, and they are more than willing to talk to you and get you started. And I say it's better to go to one of these camps and get the jitters out before you get to the school that you really, really want to impress, and you'll be all relaxed and know what to do.
Yeah, a couple of rehearsals and trial runs.
Yeah, exactly, kind of like an interview. Do the mock interview.
And even if you walk away feeling like you stuck your foot in your mouth and were a fool, it's amazing because of the ease of finding players for these coaches, the way the technology is allowed for sorting of information. A lot of times that coach will end up, it'll pique your interest, and I'm going to go watch that kid for an inning or two and just kind of see what happens. So making that initial connection and getting your name to somebody, there's a lot of these coaches have a minute or two somewhere during the course of the week where they're going to go, I could fill a slot. Maybe I should go see that kid who at least had the confidence to come up and talk to me.
They really do appreciate it when you come and talk to them yourself.
Yeah.
They really want to talk to you.
Well, we want to let you get back to work handling your college coaches. What is can you give us a number? How many college coaches are here?
Oh, my gosh. There's probably, I'd say, close to 500.
Yeah.
Between, we got a lot of, just all levels of coaches are out here. I mean, I was out at a field, and I saw Patty Gassow, Mike Smith. They're all here out and about, looking at players, talking to their friends. It's fun to see them. You saw them on TV battling it out with each other, and then they're sitting there with their arms around each other talking about the game and the fun of the season. So 500
plus, that's a lot of coaching.
That's a lot of coaches walking around, yes.
Yeah, that's a heavy travel pattern into Colorado.
Yes.
Well, we're going to let you go and get back to work, but before we do that, we have to let you comment on your Boston Red Sox earrings.
Yes.
You don't put those on to not have people ask you about them. So go ahead. What about the Red Sox?
Well, I was born in Massachusetts, so the Red Sox are my team, and the red goes with our blue shirts we wear everywhere. So I just love to wear them. It's a great conversation starter with people, and I'm not shy about talking to people, but it doesn't help to have a little edge. When I got a great picture today of a guy in a Yankees hat sitting in a wheelchair and a guy in the Red Sox hat pushing him along.
Oh.
Had to stop him, had to take a picture.
Wow.
It was a great moment.
Wow. That's
it
a
was
merging
really,
of two opposite forces.
Yeah, I was really impressed.
And I can vouch for you that because I was working with you at the time. You've, as you said, you were born there. You've been a Red Sox diehard for a long time. She didn't jump on the bandwagon in 2004.
No.
So these earrings and all this stuff predates when they finally broke the curse.
Yes.
So I'm glad you finally got what you waited so long to have happen.
Yep. Oh, I was a little girl watching them, and I'm very happy now. Thank you.
College coach coordinator with Triple Crown Sports. That's Lynn Klingelsmith. Lynn, thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.